Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to my 3 takeaways episode from the Chase Akers interview this past Monday, in which I released part 1, and then part 2 I released on Wednesday. So if you haven't hit both parts yet, make sure that you do so. And I really split it up into 2 parts for a couple of reasons. Number 1, because it was a little bit longer. Part 1 ended up being about 45 minutes, part 2 about 30 minutes or so. But really, when I was going back and editing it, it just kind of made sense. Part 1 was really about his upbringing and his birth story, and the birth story was really cool, or really just inspiring, because his mother was told by the doctors that there's probably like an 80% chance at least that he doesn't come out alive, but his mother had so much faith, and he was born 3 months early, 3 months premature, which is absurd. And so there was so much in that birth story, and then so much in his upbringing in terms of having cerebral palsy and what all the challenges that come along with that, and how kind of he had a lot of bitterness early on, and when he looked at other people who were athletic and had a lot more maybe physical capabilities than he did. And then part 2 was a lot more about kind of his current goals and his fitness journey, really, how fitness has completely changed his life, changed his own goals, and changed his mindset in terms of what he's capable of. So it's a super powerful episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, make sure you go back and listen to Chase. Again, he's an amazing guy. He has cerebral palsy, was born with cerebral palsy, and he's overcome so much ever since his challenging birth story. But for now, let's get right into my 3 takeaways. Number 1 is your body keeps the score. And he used this quote, and he said that it was a book that he's read, because he felt that a lot of this anger and a lot of this bitterness that he had inside towards other people who are a little bit maybe more physically capable than he was, that it just built up over time, and this anger built up over time, and he just had so much of this bitterness and anger kind of in his late teenage years. And he felt like when he was 18, it was his cerebral palsy and everything was just kind of going to go away. Like puberty would go away, and he was just going to be strong, and he had a beard and all this stuff. But that didn't happen, obviously, right? You don't wake up when you're 18 and all that stuff change. But either way, let's get back to your body keeps the score. He said that, but your body holds on to trauma, and then it reveals it in a certain way if it's held on to too long and has no outlet. So this bitterness and anger just kind of stored up in him because there was no way to let it out. So even by journaling, even just talking to somebody, if you have some kind of outlet, whether it's just within yourself or with somebody else, probably preferably, then that is very important. I think a lot of us have a lot of things that we hold inside because we think it's wrong or we think it's weak, that if we expose that bitterness, anger, or whatever it is that we're holding on to. But it's really important to let that go in some way, shape, or form. Number 2 is erase the victim mentality. I mean, I think the victim mentality is just so prevalent, maybe more than ever nowadays, because we feel like we are victim to the circumstances, situations, experiences that we've been subjected to. And a lot of times that we blame others, we blame other people, we blame these circumstances on our current situation. And maybe sometimes that's justified, right? Like he had cerebral palsy. Like that's something to blame. That's something to blame on for not having certain physical capabilities. But it does you no good if you blame something else, right? Like if you just hold on to it and realize that you're control of what you're going to make of your situation, your experience, then it's so much more empowering and you can actually do something about it. So why be bitter? And this was my favorite clip that I took out of him. He was like, what am I doing besides being bitter about this situation? Like, well, I need to actually go and do something about it because I'm a lot more capable than I'm actually giving myself credit for. So I really love that thing. For 22 years, he talked about how bitter he was, and then he finally let go of that victim mentality. And now he knows how much he's capable of, and he's not letting anything hold him back in terms of his goals. Takeaway number 3 is get out of your comfort zone. And this kind of goes into the fitness journey, because when he first did a Pilates class, he was like, this Pilates thing is for girls. Like, it's not for me. But he still took the leap of faith to do the first Pilates class. And then his life was completely changed. Like, not all of us are going to have that one thing that we do that gets us out of our comfort zone and has completely changed our life, which happened for Chase. But the thing is, it's like you never know what something you've never done before might do for you. And it's like, it might be a certain experience. It might be a fitness class. It might be trying a new job. It might be trying a new relationship. But if you get outside of your comfort zone, it's like you never know what that thing might be able to provide you, whether externally or something internally, unless you actually go do that thing. So challenge yourself to get outside of your comfort zone. And then the last bonus takeaway that I want to add is what you perceive, you receive. And I loved this quote. This was like my most I knew that exactly when he said that during the interview. I was like, that's going to be a takeaway. I'm going to make that a clip or something like that, because it was so powerful, because I really believe in kind of like visualization and taking action on what you want to make happen in the world. And it's kind of, that's what the quote is. What you perceive, you receive. So if you perceive you're a certain way, like for him, if you perceive you're an athlete, even though like maybe he wasn't an athlete at the time, but he still kind of like walked around like that, acted like that, and did things in that fashion, then everybody else started to see him in that light. And so he received the perception of him being an athlete. And that's kind of the same thing that happened with him with being a DJ. Like, he didn't really know how to DJ, but he tried to go out and learn as much about it as he could. He walked around like a DJ. He told people he was a DJ. And the more and more he did that, the more and more he learned, and the more people actually looked at him and perceived him as a DJ. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the episode with Chase Akers. Again, my 3 takeaways. Number 1 is your body keeps the score. If you hold on to trauma, anger, bitterness too long, then it's going to reveal itself to you in a certain way. So find a way to let that go in some way, shape, or form. Number 2 is erase the victim mentality, because really having a victim mindset, whether or not it's justified, does us no good, right? It does no good to just sit there and blame other things, other people, other circumstances, experience. What good does that do? Even if it's justified, get out there and do something about it. And change that situation for the better. Number 3 was get out of your comfort zone, because you never know what that thing is that you do that's outside of your comfort zone, what it might reveal to you, what it might give to you after you have done it. And then that bonus takeaway was what you perceive, you receive. If you take action on that thing that you want to make happen in the world, or that thing that you want to be in the world, then you might receive that back in return if you work hard and you work smart enough. Again, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the Chase Akers interview. I really hope that you got some takeaways yourself. If you got some takeaways, I'd love to hear what they were for you. I do these 3 takeaways episodes every week, and I give my takeaways, but I would really love to hear your takeaways. I'm sure maybe every once in a while they're the same, but I'm also sure that you probably have your own. So I'd love to hear y'all's feedback on y'all's 3 takeaways. Also, if you like this episode, make sure you scroll down to the bottom of the Apple Podcast app or iTunes and give it a quick 5-star review, a quick review as well. Type out your favorite part or something like that, or maybe your favorite takeaway. But other than that, guys, find something from this episode with Chase and use it to get a little bit closer and closer to your best you.